Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to talk about things that are going on, I better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
Hello, this is Neil Oakes, Chief of Police for the Fort Worth Police Department. I'm here to provide some information on the officer-involved shooting that occurred on August 21st, 2022. Please keep in mind that although we're giving this information, we are still very early in the investigation, and we hope to be able to provide more information as that investigation goes on. All information and evidence will be turned over to the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office for their review and a grand jury review, which is standard operating procedure for the Fort Worth Police Department in these types of incidents. At about 9:40 p.m., officers were dispatched to a residence in reference to a suicidal person call when they were told the person was armed and was potentially violent. When officers arrived on scene, they knocked on the door, announced who they were. They did not have anyone answer the door, but instead heard someone from inside say, "Don't do it."
All right. So we already know right off the bat that this suicide call is probably going to end up being a suicide by police kind of thing. So we know this is an officer-involved shooting. We just heard, suicidal call. So sounds like it's probably going to be a fucked up situation being caused by the person who is suicidal.
Forward, please. It's locked. Come to the door for me. Forward, police. I need you to come to the door. What's that? Yeah. We're gonna have to boot her. She's saying don't do it. Someone's saying don't do it. They won't come to the door. Now let's go.
Fearing that someone inside was in danger and feeling they must act, they forced entry into the residence.
All right, so this kind of setup for the apartment complex really sucks for tactical positioning. And what I mean by that is when they were first knocking on the door, they know they're going to a call or someone potentially, saying they're going to be harming themselves. Ideally, it would be nice to be able to get to one side of the door. That way you're not directly in front of it. This architecture right here doesn't allow for that. You've got a wall immediately to your left with a window that could be a window for that unit right there. And to the right is a little fence, a little rail that prevents you from very easily falling to the first floor level. Or they could be on third floor for all we know. Either way, they're in a shitty situation. They're in a fatal funnel in a sense. This is like a shotgun kind of setup right here. Someone could very easily just start blasting through that door and take that officer out right there in the front, and then the two officers up here on the landing are going to be stuck where they're at. Now that one at the stairwell right there, he could easily back down from it. What's behind this officer, I don't know. It could be another apartment door right behind them. I don't know, but this architecture sucks for tactical positioning. If you can get to one side of the door, get to one side of the door. That way, if someone starts blasting through the door, you're not directly in front of it. They know they're going to a call where, it's potentially suicidal. There could be someone with a weapon at this call. So I think that a long gun of some sort should be out. Someone should either have a rifle out or a shotgun out, because they could be going into a situation where it's going to turn into a gunfight. this might not even be an actual true suicide call. This could be an ambush. Someone could be making this up to lure them in there so that they can kill some cops. So going to a call like this, I think, absolutely requires officers to get out with long guns. And because it is a potential suicide call, I think it would be pertinent to also have less lethal devices out. Now, whether or not they have a 12-gauge beanbag round, shotgun, whether they have a 40-millimeter launcher, I don't know. Pepperball gun, I don't know. I have no idea what this agency has, what its capabilities are. But if they had those things and they were available to these officers right then and there, then they should have had those out.
Door open. Please.
Now, making entry into here, so as I mentioned, they could hear someone inside saying, don't do it, and then they make entry. So this is obviously something that law enforcement is capable of doing and is allowed to do under the law. Under exigent circumstances, an officer can make entry into a person's dwelling without having to have a warrant to go in if they believe that someone's life is in danger.
Door open. Forward, please. Forward, please.
Are you six?
Put the gun down.
Put it
the
down.
gun down.
Put it down.
Put the gun down.
The officers encountered a 39-year-old black male inside of the residence who was holding a rifle. They gave him multiple commands to drop the weapon while they maintained a position of cover behind the threshold of the doorway. The male then approached the officers and raised the rifle towards the officers as they continued to plead with him to drop the weapon. One officer fired his handgun, striking the suspect, who then fell to the floor.
What a gun point.
Put the gun down.
Put the gun down.
Don't do it.
Put
the gun down.
Don't do it.
Put it down.
Oh, fuck.
Put the
What's
put
going
the
on,
gun
man?
down.
Put the gun down.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Put it
Put it
down.
down. Put the gun down. Put it down. Put it down. Drop it.
So we talk about the line in the sand. Each person is going to be a little bit different on where they draw their line in the sand at. Personally, I think these guys put their line in the sand a little too far back than what they should have. I think they should have put it up a little bit closer. I don't believe that, mental health situation or not, that doesn't really matter. That goes out the window. I don't believe that this person should have made it that far with that gun in their hand. The minute they stood up and the gun's in the hand, that's a threat. That they're not complying with orders. They're not complying with the commands to drop the damn gun. And then they start to approach and get closer and closer. And then they back away and they don't act. Too much opportunity for this guy to take advantage and kill these officers.
Forward, please. Forward, please.
Don't want to die. Don't do it.
Put the gun down.
Put it
the
down.
gun down.
Put it down.
Put the gun down.
Point gun point.
Put the gun down.
Put the gun down.
Don't do it.
Put
Put the gun down.
Don't do it.
Put it down.
Oh, fuck.
Put the
What's
put
going
the
on,
gun
man?
down.
Put the gun down.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Put it down.
Put
Put
it
it
down.
down.
Put it down. Put it down. Drop it.
Officers immediately provided medical care until the Fort Worth Fire Department and MedStar personnel arrived on scene. This was a tragic incident, and it's also an example of the split-second decisions officers have to make in dangerous encounters. Mental well-being, mental health is something that touches us all. If you or someone you know is suffering, please reach out for help.
Yeah, like you said, it's something that touches a lot of people, and it is far-reaching. People say that this country has a mental health problem, and they're exactly right. There is a mental health problem in this country, and it's not just this country. I think it's worldwide. But I don't think that the people who do say that there is a mental health problem, I don't think they really fully realize how accurate they are, like how more accurate they are than what they think they are. I don't think they understand the gravity of how big of a problem there is in this country. There are some batshit crazy fucking people in this country. People who need to be locked away for a while because they're like, fucking Michael Myers, man. They're just that batshit fucking crazy. And then there are people who are not like that, but they suffer from, some mental health issues, depression, stuff like that. And it can lead to things like this. It's very far-reaching. There's multiple things that could go into a person's mental health. It could be genetics. They are more susceptible to things like depression. Like depression runs in their family. Depression can be, something from, very mild to very severe. There's other mental health things. People who are bipolar, schizophrenic, etc. And that's genetic. That can run in families. And then there's these people who have those problems and they try to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol, and that just makes it fucking worse. People who have these mental health problems and they're untreated, they don't go to the doctor, they don't get put on right medications, and in the beginning, they may not fully recognize what's going on with them. Things, start to change. It gets worse. They kind of recognize there's something wrong with them. They still don't go, and then it just progresses and gets worse to the point where it's no longer peculiar to them. They might recognize the fact that something's wrong with me, but for some of them, it gets to the point where it is the norm. They don't know any better. They don't know any different. That's how they've always been. And it's out there. I don't think that people understand the gravity of it. They don't fully realize what the mental health stuff is like in this country, because things like that are not searchable. You cannot get police records on mental health stuff in most states. A lot of that is quote unquote forbidden. It is not subject to open records request. You can't get mental health evaluations. If the police detain a person for a mental hold, you can't get the records related to that mental hold. You might, be able to get like some documents, the fact that they've taken them into custody, they transported them, whatever. But as far as them sitting down with someone and telling them what their problems are and what they're thinking, you're never going to see that. You're never going to see the evaluator report on someone and this person talking about how they want to kill everyone and they hear voices. Never going to hear that. Never see that kind of shit. And people may have these crazy ideations, but they don't do or say things that gives the government enough evidence to keep them locked up. It doesn't give the courts enough evidence to say, hey, this person belongs in a psychiatric care facility against their will. We're going to lock them away here for a amount of time. They don't do enough to have that justification. And these people are walking around. They're walking around us all the time. And no one knows. Partly because those records are sealed. You cannot get a hold of them. Now, Mental health, I do think that the whole mental health thing has become something that is being used to excuse people's behavior, to give them an exemption for being held accountable for their actions. Crazy or not crazy, if you fucking hurt someone, you need to be held accountable. You, as a person who is a danger to others, need to be locked away. Can't help it that you suffer from mental health. I can't help it that genetically your whole family bloodline has been plagued by schizophrenia. Cannot help that. That sucks. I wish that your bloodline would have been better, but it is what it is, and we can't use that and say, well, this poor guy, he's got mental health problems, and he stabbed this person, and it's not really his fault. He's a victim of mental health. He don't need jail. He needs treatment. No. He needs treatment. Sure, he needs treatment. But he also needs to be held accountable for the crime that he committed against someone. Yeah, his ass needs to be in jail. And if he's that much of a fucking threat, then his ass needs to be locked away for a long time. So he's not a threat to other people. Don't know what kind of rifle this is. This looks like a bullpup of some sort. Looks like it holds an AR-15 style magazine. I don't know much. I don't know much about bullpup rifles. I don't really care for them that much. So no idea what this is. Don't even know if it's real or not. It could be fake. Looks real, but then again, there's fake guns that look real and you can't tell in pictures. So no idea what the hell it is. But he had it in his hands and he came super, super close to them with it. Phew, man, that is fucking close. God, that's way too close for comfort. And that's a rifle. So that rifle cartridge is going to go straight through soft armor, no problem whatsoever. It'll go through it like a warm knife through warm butter. And with the soft panels they have, and depending on the rounds he's got, he could very well shoot through their front panel of their armor, the round go through their body, and go out the back panel. Do it through and through, front to back, no problem whatsoever. And this is why I say it's best to go into these things with rifles. You want to meet deadly force with a superior deadly force weapon, and that's going to be a rifle. So although this is just one guy and there are multiple officers, these officers are in a sense outgunned because he does have a rifle. If this guy was truly committed to wanting to harm them, if this was a bogus call and he was planning an attack, he could have caused a lot of damage. He could have dominated those officers and really fucked them up if he wanted to. It's kind of, I guess, weird saying this. Thankfully, it was just him wanting to be suicidal, and not the other way around. But even then, as a person is suicidal, they're obviously not in their right mindset, right? Like they're wanting to self-terminate. That's not normal. So in order for them to achieve that goal, they might become violent towards other people. He's obviously posturing at this point, making it seem like he's going to become violent in order for him to get them to do what he wants them to do. There's nothing that says that he couldn't shoot at one of them to scare them into shooting him. And just by shooting at them, he could inadvertently actually shoot one of them. He could have the mindset of actually shooting one of them with the intentions of causing the others to shoot him. So just because he's suicidal does not mean that he's not a threat to other people. He is a threat to other people while he's holding that rifle and while he is not obeying any of their commands. It sucks. It really does. I hate that these things happen. I hate these suicide by police things. I think it sucks for everyone involved. It sucks for the person who is going through this. You know, I've got empathy for them. You know, they're in a bad place in their life where they think the only acceptable answer is to self-terminate. To get to that point in your life, it's not like you just all of a sudden have that thought and it's an instantaneous thought like, well, I'm going to clock out today. No, that's something that builds up. That's something that you think about more than once. And so this guy has had these thoughts going on probably for some time. How long, I don't know, but it could have been a day, it could have been a couple of days, it could have been a couple of weeks, could have been a couple of months, could be 2 years of him thinking about doing something like this. The headspace that he's in to get to that point, like I said, it's got to be, it's fucking depressing. Yeah, to be that depressed, that's fucking depressing. It really is. The pain and suffering, the emotional turmoil that he's going through or has gone through up until this point. It sucks. It really does. I hate that, someone has to go through that kind of stuff. So I empathize with them on that. I feel sorry for them on that. But when it comes to them doing this suicide by police stuff where they are forcing another good human being to have to do something like this and then have to be the one to live with it, that's where I draw the line in feeling sorry for these people. That's where I start to feel other feelings towards these people. That's where I start to call these people fucking assholes. So yeah, I empathize with the fact that they got to this point. That sucks. I hate it. However, at the same time, fuck them for doing this to these officers. That's fucking bullshit. Not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.